Good morning, church. We're going to spend the next week or so, maybe a little longer than a week, in Galatians, just capturing some of the great truths that are there. Galatians all about living in the grace that Christ has given us through the cross, rather than living to some legalistic law standard that the Judaizers and others were pressing in on at that time, following after Paul's ministry. So I'm just going to call these some grace notes for us. And the first one goes like this: Galatians 5, verse 1. Paul's going to explain to us that we have this freedom we've been given. If I embrace the grace of the cross and I'm saved purely by this marvelous, infinite, matchless grace of God that we sing about, Paul makes it clear that I have two paths that I can take in my grace-filled life. The first one is, he talks about this in Romans, I can continue in sin. Paul says he warns us not to continue in sin that grace may abound. When he explains grace to us as covering all our sins for all time, he says, shall I continue in sin that grace may abound? No, never should we do that. He warns us that we should not do that. And he tells us there's severe consequences to that. We will literally enslave ourselves to what we yield to. So don't let grace give you the freedom to sin, or we'll enslave ourselves. But then when you look at the book of Galatians, that's what he's talking about in Galatians 5, verse 1. We're going to spend some time in Galatians 5 this week. That's what he's talking about in Galatians 5. He says, it was for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to the yoke of slavery. We've been set free from sin, and we need to stand firm in that. One of the best ways to honor the sacrifice of Christ on the cross for what he did for us to pay for our sins is to stand firm in that freedom. Resist the devil. The Bible says resist the devil and he'll flee from you in James. It's an active resistance, though. It's not passive. You can't be a passive Christian when it comes to sin things. When you see sins that overtake you, sins that easily beset you, sins that weigh you down, you have to fight against them. You have to figure out how to cut them out of your life. You have to figure out how to stop the power of that sin in your life sometimes just through practical things. You have to turn off your subscription to whatever streaming device you're using that's eating up your time or giving you things you shouldn't watch. So all of that is to resist the devil, actively learn to battle against the devil and give him no place to attack you. And then we need to fight the good fight of faith. Paul tells Timothy in 1 Timothy 6, fight the fight of faith and hold firm to that faith, pursuing godliness, chasing after godliness, chasing after righteousness, meekness, steadfastness, gentleness. You need to chase after the good things as a way to resist the devil and fight the fight of faith. So today, let's choose to honor grace. Let's choose to live purely, walking in the grace and the freedom. Stand firm in the freedom that we have been given the ability to have, and don't walk in our flesh today. Let's thank him often today for the cross and for the freedom that he gives us in grace to walk without sin in our lives. Love you guys. Hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching.